Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at the Hong Kong market. Before we begin, remember to take a second to give the video a like and subscribe as you greatly help our channel. Without further ado, let's first start off with the Hang Seng Index. So you can see that after the cloud support broke down, and essentially this 61.8% and this 50% broke down, we actually went down quite quickly, and actually we closed the week near the low at around 20.2k or 20.3k. So that's not a good sign. After this like 38.2% breakdown at 2428. The next support we're looking at is 19950 at 23.6%, just below the 20,000 psychological support level. So it's likely for us to visit these levels next week. And in the event that we do not hold, then it's likely for us to look at 19178, which was the previous support here. Two resistance to watch would be this blue conversion line at 21207 and also 21332. So it's around 21.2 and 21.3 thousand. And that's it. In the event that we actually go back up, the cloud will also act as a very strong resistance on the way up. So let's move on to the Hang Seng TECH Index. So the Hang Seng TECH Index is slightly stronger. You can see that it's still holding 50% at 4446 really well. So next support will be 4283 and 4082 as the next two critical support. That said, there's also this gap that has to be closed at around 408 levels. Next up, we also have these two resistance to watch, which is at 4.7k, which is still quite far away for now. Let's move on to Tencent. So Tencent, as you can see, just last week, we were already barely holding this 23.6%. It's likely for us to retest these 3 to 5 levels, which was the previous support here. In the event that we do break down and were to break down this $300 psychological support, then it's likely for us to retest 297, which was the 52-week low. Two resistance to watch would be this blue conversion line at 340 and also this red baseline at 365. Let's move on to Alibaba. So Alibaba also had no surprise. Once it broke down 61.8%, 105, things started to turn ugly. It actually acted as a support for around 3 days. And last day, it actually broke down. So 50% is $100 psychological support. Next support is 95.8 and 89.6. There is still this very big gap at $80 and still needs to be closed. Two resistance to watch will be 109 and 112, which is this blue conversion line and this red baseline respectively. Let's move on to Meituan or 3690. So Meituan, you can see that it's consolidating sideways, but it's also lost some momentum after it break down this blue conversion line and red baseline. So 61.8% at 180 is barely holding. So next week, it's likely for us to see 170 or even 160. If we pull back down further, then 150 is potential or essentially the last support before we see 130 for Meituan. That's it. There is some cloud support here. You can see that the buyers are starting to step in at this cloud support level. So we may be holding it for a period of time before we continue to sell off. Two resistance to watch will be around 190 levels. You can see that this blue conversion line and red baseline will act as a very strong resistance for Meituan. So let's move on to NetEase. So NetEase seems to be not recovering yet. You can see that it's really dropping out of its cloud support levels. Two resistance to watch will be this blue conversion line at 141 and this red baseline at 153 or 154 levels. You can see that 38.2%, 133 is barely holding. So the next psychological support will be 130 before we test 123 or even 108 as a potential possibility. Let's move on to NIO. So NIO on 9866, you can see that after it hit this double top, it's started to sell off. And this 61.8% and 161 is barely holding as well. If we were to break down, you can see that we can actually fall quite a bit to this cloud support level at 150 or even 138 levels. As for the resistance, it would be this blue conversion line at 168 and also this red baseline at around 163 levels. Let's move on to JD.com or 9618. So 9618, you can see that it's currently holding the cloud support pretty well. 50% is at 232. Next, 38.2% is 222 and also 209 as potential supports for JD.com. Not forgetting that there is also a lot of gaps here that still needs to be closed for 9618. Two resistance to watch will be this 249 and 252, just around the $250 psychological support resistance level. Next up, we have Baidu. So you can see that Baidu also started to break down. You can see that it's currently holding 61.8% and 136. So if we break down further, then 130 and 123 as a potential support for Baidu. There is also one very big gap here at around from 115 to around 130, $15 gap that needs to be closed. We are approaching the cloud soon, so do expect some cloud support coming up for Baidu. That said, resistance to watch will be around 145 levels. You can see this blue conversion line and this red baseline is acting as a strong resistance rather for Baidu. Let's move on to AIA. So AIA, you can see that it's barely holding this blue red baseline here. And if you were to break down 61.8% or $80 psychological support, then 79 and 77 would be a potential support for AIA, which is pretty tight ranging for this particular counter. There is also a gap here, just below $75 psychological support. There's a potential closing of gap for AIA or 1299. So let's move on to PingAn. So PingAn, the chart is very ugly. You can see that after this red baseline were to break down at around $50 psychological support, we dropped down very heavily, and we even closed the week at the 46.80, which is very bearish. So 45.80 is nice to be tested, and if you break down further, then we may start to see new lows for this PingAn, and we may continue to drop further. Resistance to watch will be this blue conversion line and red baseline at around $50 psychological resistance. Lastly, we have Xiaomi Corporation. So Xiaomi Corporation is holding pretty well after it found some resistance at its last support here at 78.6%, 1436. You can see here at 1454, and we started to trend back lower. So as of now, 50% is holding pretty well, 12.42, but I doubt that $12 psychological support will hold next week. 11.92 and 11.30 would be likely to be tested. And as of now, it's in the cloud supports, so we do expect some support and buying pressure as well. So overall, the Hong Kong market seems to be pretty bearish, and we will see if buyers will step in next week or there's more selling pressure next week. And if there's any changes, I'll give you guys an update. Thanks for stopping by. Till we meet again, appreciate the manipulation.